Hi, listener. This is From Ideology to Unity, a spiritual journey where we let go of ego and ideological doctrine in favor of meaning, purpose, and unity as a whole. So we start off one with Source in the spirit world, say, between lives. And we were fundamentally connected to all that is. Now, we are anyway, in a sense. But what happens when we incarnate is that, in a sense, that we separate out from Source. We come into separation, into duality. And that is, so birth itself, while it's a wonderful thing, is actually kind of painful in terms of suffering. You know, there's suffering involved in that. And perhaps we spend a lot of our lives trying to find ways to deal with the fact that we're avoiding feeling that pain because it's traumatic, right? And it's just when we're starting, it's like a shock, right? Even though we chose to come here, it's just a shock to come into incarnation and separate out like that from Source. And that is this pain, the suffering that is hard to handle, and we often don't confront it. And so we might distract ourselves trying to find pleasure in external things or love in external things or people. And what we latch onto when we're very young is our parents, especially our mother, right? But really, that's like trying to make up for the fact that we're separate from Source. But we forget that. We forget that we've separated from Source. And so a lot of the suffering that we have is a side effect of that of our avoidance of the original suffering of separation. And so we have a lot of negative self-beliefs as a result, where we believe that we're not good enough, that we're complete, that we're separate from everything else because we had a traumatic experience of separation. Now, in truth, we're still connected to all that is, right? But whether it's an illusion or not, the experience of birth is kind of coming into this holographic reality from the spirit world where everything is much more explicitly connected, I could say, or where we're connected to Source and part of Source in such a way that cannot be denied. And so we often don't have an open heart when we're on this earth, right? So a lot of the time, this sense of being incomplete, instead of being directly experienced by us, is actually experienced externally. Because we look external rather than internally. We see things wrong with other people and things in the world. So that's when we judge others, we're at the same time judging ourselves. But what we're seeing, we're projecting onto others our sense of being incomplete and that there's something wrong with us that might be taught when we're growing up by parents, and it might also just come from that experience of separation and birth. And so we have these disagreements and arguments with other people, or we see other people, they just don't get it, right? They don't get it, right? You've got your set of truths about spirituality or whatever, like even before you get to spirituality, you have your ideology, your beliefs about how reality is, and other people have different ones. And it might be tempting to feel like they're just wrong. They don't understand certain things. And I can help them understand how it really is. Or they get to understand my perspective. They don't understand, right? And there'll be things that you judge them for. And that's understandable. But that sense that there's things wrong in the external world is a reflection or projection of our sense that there's something wrong internally, that we're incomplete, that we're separate. But that itself is an illusion that comes from the traumatic entry into incarnation, essentially. And I realized last night, talking to a friend, that there was something fundamentally inauthentic about a tendency I've had to get into arguments or discussions with people trying to change their mind to my position or my perspective. I've often even had this idea that I'm helping people or contributing to society by doing so. And this is before I go to spirituality. And I admit, I haven't entirely let that go yet. So I realized that authenticity is that I'm acting like there's something wrong with everyone else, when really, what it really is, as I feel that there's something wrong with me and I'm projecting it. This idea that I'm the one who's honest and sees how it is, and everyone else is delusional or dishonest, and I'm the honest one, right? Now, I grew up with this difficulty. I had difficulty in lying. It's like a mental block. Even if it was like white lies, it was just hard to do it. And so sometimes I just told people the truth as I saw it and offended them. It's kind of an Asperger's thing. So, which is just a label, but you know, I have that tendency. And I kind of felt that other people were, a lot of other people were dishonest or delusional. It's a pretty arrogant perspective, really. But that's just my version of the perspective. But it also includes other people's being wrong, right? And you see all these other problems or flaws in other people. You're judging them, right? But really, you're judging yourself, since you are them, right? And you're seeing what you reject in yourself. Because what you reject about yourself is in your shadow, your subconscious. And yet, what you experience, you attract what you are, even if you don't accept that as being you. And when you experience what you are that you reject, you experience it as a sort of mirror effect of, yeah, you encounter someone who, it's like the universe is showing you, like, hey, this is something you're rejecting here. This is something you can consider, right? So in a sense, everything that feels like other people are disagreeing or not getting is actually a reflection of you rejecting something about yourself in an inauthentic way. Because if we are all that is, if the infinity of human potential is within us, or universal potential is within us, if we are unlimited and connected to all that is, then anything that we see as wrong with someone else, or that we judge them for, them not getting it or whatever, right? That is, any time we're angry or afraid of them, like, that it's a signal to us, hey, this is something you're not being authentic about. Because if you're authentic, you would recognize them, what you're seeing in them, as part of you. All the traits or that you're perceiving in them, real or not, all that negativity you're interpreting in them, it's within you as well. Or at least it's a reflection of something you're rejecting or a distortion within you. And the way part of how we be authentic is by recognizing when we see other people, let's say, not getting it or judging things about people, whatever, you know, that is actually, you're seeing you, or at least a projection of you, and a mirror reflection back at you, so you can understand better. And it's really just, it comes from your sense of being incomplete and broken, or there's something wrong with you that we've had ever since birth, pretty much. And that's what it really is. And so afterwards, I went up for some fresh air, and I sort of, I guess I got tingling when I reflected on that realization, like a tingling up and down the spine sort of thing. I get that when I realize it sometimes. Yeah, and I guess I felt joy and elation and love, but also the pain at the same time. So it was like wanting to laugh and cry at the same time for a moment. I don't know. It was an interesting experience anyway. It's nice having these breakthroughs. You're like, right, yeah, I see. I mean, it's not entirely new to me, that kind of concept. I mean, it's related to Aaron Epke's ideas that he talks about, and other ideas that come across in New Age community and stuff. But the way I understood it, and felt it, and it resonated, that knowing I felt it, that was new to me, I would say, about that particular thing. So yeah, hopefully that resonated with you. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and feel free to like and subscribe or not, you know. That's if you're on YouTube, that is. Yeah. And if there's anyone you feel like would enjoy my content, feel free to share it with them, because that's like a win-win, right? Okay. So without further ado, bye for now.